A report of a committee set up by the People's Democratic Party, which recommended the scrapping of its zoning policy, was rejected yesterday by the Southeast and Southsouth leaders. The PDP Committee on the Review of 2019 General Elections, headed by Bauchi State Governor Senator Bala Mohammed, had recommended that the party should allow all aspirants from all parts of the country to contest for its 2023 presidential ticket. Meanwhile, in a statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Chief Chidozie Ohaneze said it remained irrevocably committed to the emergence of a Nigerian president of Igbo extraction come 2023. A back and forth now, Tundu. It's like a proverbial game of ping pong.
Well, we didn't expect anything else, did we? You know, you and I discussed this yesterday morning, and the reaction has been swift, as you know, one could predict. I really have a problem with the term read the room, but I have to use it now. PDP needs to read the room. The general mood in this country is that of a lack of inclusion. There's this clamor for inclusion, and sometimes it's expressed in constructive ways, other times not. But it is there, it's present. And any political party who is actually in the business of serving the people, in the business of service and power, or in the Nigerian context, power and service, because power tends to come first, would do well to understand the mood of the country and the mood of those they are seeking to lead. Right now, a lot of people are feeling, rightly or wrongly, nobody really knows, and it doesn't really matter. It's neither here nor there at this point. People are feeling disenfranchised, they're feeling marginalized, and PDP should attend to that. This whole sort of meritocracy, this idealism that they're trying to express, has actually fallen flat, because the theory here being presented by some of these groups protesting that choice, although it's not officially a choice yet, it's just it's an option being weighed up. Yeah. Some of the points that they are making, that it's not actually idealistic, that it's a political move to favor certain political, giants within the PDP who are wanting to vie for political office. And it would be really unfortunate if this whole policy is geared just to favor one or two people. The point of the matter is, with zoning, we discussed this yesterday, what the Senator Bala Mohammed committee said was that either Northeast or Southeast, they were identified as two zones that are, next in line. But no, the zoning arrangement, the zoning formula we have come to know in Nigeria is north and then south, not one part of the north to another part of the north. Absolutely not. It's north and then south, and then it can go back to the northeast. Raising the northeast at this point is what has caused this reaction. And it's perfectly understandable. It's predictable. Like we said yesterday, it wasn't going to just, be taken lightly at this point.
Dr. Bati?
Well, a number of declaratory statements. One, there's nothing in the Nigerian Constitution that talks about zoning. There's nothing in the Electoral Act that imposes on political parties zoning. So the expectation under the enabling framework is that the president of Nigeria will come from whatever part of the country and will be such a person that is the product of a merit-driven process. And that is the product of strong internal democracy within the political parties. However, given the circumstances in 1998, 1999, the People's Democratic Party, in order to resolve the crisis that arose from the 1993 general elections, presidential election, decided on the principle of zoning. And that was why it was assumed that one way to ensure peace in Nigeria was to ensure that the next president came from the Southwest. And the principal beneficiary of that at that time was then President Olusegun Obasanjo, who came from the Southwest, to pacify the people of the Southwest, who felt aggrieved that Bashorun MK Abiola, who won the 1993 election, was denied. So it's an adoption by the People's Democratic Party, okay? So we have to bear that in mind. It's not as if it's a matter of law. Second, I think it's important that the PDP, like other political parties, decided to review the 2019 general elections. I mean, I'm surprised that it has taken them a whole year to come to reach any conclusion in terms of determining what happened, what lessons the party should learn from the 2019 general election. We hope that the emphasis will be on lessons learned, particularly with regard to internal democracy which was a major crisis for the party in the 2019 general elections at all levels, and which probably accounted for the performance of that party in the election. The third point to be made is that, yes, this committee has now submitted its report. The party itself has not taken a position. If you look at the speech that was made by Uche Secondus, the chairman of the party, when he received the report of that committee from the Bala Mohammed committee, he spent more time, in fact, criticizing the present administration, the Buhari administration, how the Buhari administration has disappointed Nigerians, and how the PDP thinks that electoral reform is very important. Those are some of the preliminary statements that he made. Now, the party will go and look at that report. However, the responses that we have seen from the Southeast and the Southsouth is, yes, perfectly understandable, because, I mean, you will not expect that once the committee's report has been made public, certain stakeholders who think that certain recommendations do not address their interests, you do not expect them that they will keep quiet. And we have been discussing on this program, and that's why, whether or not it is imperative in 2023 for the presidency of Nigeria to now be zoned to the Southeast or even to the South-South. Now, the major reaction now has come from the Ohanese Indigbo, the Igbo group, and also from PANDEM, the Pan-Nigeria Pan-Delta Forum. And what they are saying is that, no, nobody should talk about power going to anywhere in the north, particularly the northeast. But you know that the northeast has also been disadvantaged. They are saying that you should come to the south. Now, there's a similar argument also in the APC, because there are elements in the ruling party, the APC, who are also saying, look, the agreement is that power should come back to the south after President Buhari. Whether it goes to the southeast, or it goes to the south-south, or it comes to the southwest, some people say they don't care, but it must come to the south. The reflection of all of this is the fault lines in the Nigerian arrangement. The fact that people do not trust each other, the fact that there is contestation over power, the fact that who grabs power at the center is the main issue. In some other parts of the country or of the world, it doesn't matter. Anybody can become president. And the ideal is that moment when Nigeria will reach such moment whereby your ethnicity or your religion or your geographical extraction will not be an issue in terms of how you fulfill yourself politically at the highest level.
All right.
We hope that that Nigeria would emerge in our lifetime.
We want to see that Nigeria where merit is the order of the day and takes everything. All right. But that's all on news headlines. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll have Rotosdiri Michael Wilson, Adeso Amoro, and Aaron Akirikula to give us updates on Africa global business, COVID-19, and sporting activities across the globe. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the morning show right here on Razi's channel. Rotos, now is the time.
All right, let's do that again. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Tundu. Good morning, Doctor.
Just go straight. Go.
All right, let's go. The Central Bank Q4 2020 economic reports, looking at the total economy in the fourth quarter of 2020, trends and so on and so on. Yeah, there's a quick thing that jumped out at a number of people that I saw in the report. The current account deficit, highlighted in yellow. Current account deficit, you see there, just real quick, let's just go to the yellow part. The goods account witnessed a higher deficit of $5.2 billion, resulting from increased imports of both petroleum products and non-oil imports. Very quickly, the current account is part of the balance of payments. The balance of payments is a record of transactions between the government, businesses, and individuals with other countries in other nations. So you've got your current account, you've got your capital account, you've got capital flows, you've got remittances, you've got reserves, and so on and so forth. So essentially, that deficit was to the tune of 5.2 billion naira. Now, on the more positive fronts, the overall balance of payments, the BOP, That saw a positive surplus of $790 million. I think that was pretty much due to the central bank blocking, covering up leakages and also boosting remittance inflows into the country. So we still have to do more on trade with respect to boosting our current account deficit, getting it back into a positive territory and getting more in a balance of payments. We move on to GTB. GTB announced profits, 2020 profits to the tune of 210 billion naira. I think that's up about 2.5% compared to 2019. Essentially, the banks, I talked about UBA here. I think I also talked about Zenith Bank as well. The tier 1 banks have been doing relatively okay with respect to how they weathered the storm. Dividend, they are proposing a dividend of 2.70 naira based on the stock price closing yesterday. That's the dividend yield of about 9%. So it's pretty good for shareholders. To Wema Bank. Wema Bank, to celebrate International Women's Day, has announced a gender loan offerings. By gender loan offerings, they really mean women. They're trying to support more female businesses. Interestingly enough, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, during her visit to Nigeria, talked about the importance of supporting female SMEs and saying that the World Trade Organization is going to do its best to focus more on having women SMEs being able to export more, do more business around Africa. To Airtel, mobile money. TPG, which is a parent company, an investment firm. TPG is an investment firm that is the parent of the RISE Fund. The RISE Fund is an impact investment fund that looks to support businesses around the world that are trying to assist people in social matters. So this is for financial inclusion, $200 million investment in Airtel's mobile money to try to boost more financial inclusion across Africa. Finally, Kuda Technologies. We talked about them last November. They raised $10 million, record seed fund. This time they have a $25 million Series A fund. And we're going to talk to the CEO, Bams Ogunde, later on the Global Business Report at about 11:30. So everybody should tune in for that.
Okay, good ones for Kuda. I'm really excited about Kuda.
So am I. Congratulations to them.
Kuda just shows that the Nigerian tech and financial space is growing. And
Best
Kuda
news
has
out of
evolved
Nigeria.
big time. And kudos to them. I'd like to watch out for that interview when it comes on your show.
Absolutely.
But real quickly, also, good one for Airtel, raising money to be able to expand and improve on the business. But like you said about CBN, we need to get that, balance of trade on. Right. We need to be able to compete effectively in trade. Because what keeps every nation going is the wheel of trade that they can compete. What is causing the fight between America and China? Trade.
It is.
It's just the case.
I want to talk about Wema Bank. I mean, kudos to them as well, to borrow your word, Rufai, single interest loans. But I have heard of zero interest loans. I also wanted to know what they're doing about collateral, because that tends to be a challenge for women trying to establish an MSME, and also mentoring, training, networking. I wonder if the bank is also looking into that and organizing those opportunities.
No,
for
certainly,
women.
training is part of the package.
Exactly.
And
Training
I think
is
that
part of the
Wema
package,
Bank should be commended. But what they're doing this to mark the International Women's Day 2021.
Right.
And we hope that they will do it on a sustainable basis.
Yes.
And they are not the first bank to do it. Access Bank has something they call the W Project. Now, under that W Project, which they've been running for about 7 years now, they do a similar thing, provide, single, digit loans for women, provide training. And then there are also NGOs like the Cherry Blair Foundation for Women that at a point collaborated with First Bank. First Bank was part of that project and other NGOs because
very important.
Access of women to finances, is an important part of the effort to ensure financial inclusion.
Yes.
In Nigeria or elsewhere.
FCMB also has She Ventures, but I didn't finish. I read that training is a part of the package. But what I was trying to say is sustained, ongoing training and also networking opportunities. So beyond the training, the people who are, beneficiaries of these schemes should get a chance to get together and share ideas. That's also important.
I mean, one of the great points about building that ecosystem, pretty much about that. But I would like to say a big thank you to you, for your time, Rotus.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Global Business Update with Michael Wilson. He'll join us after this quick pause. We'll be right back. Okay, Michael is there. Great, Michael. Great. Good morning. How are you doing, Michael?
Good, fine, thank you. I thought you'd never ask. Here we are. Well, you know what they say, don't you? And I'm sorry about this, but it has been quite emotional. Actually, it's been an emotional night. The calming effect of what the American Central Bank said yesterday, dovish and all the rest of it, didn't last very long. It appeared, and again, there's a lot of things going on, but let me try and pass some of them for you. I think the straw that broke the camel's back was the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, no less, which actually came in a huge 50-year high from 23.1. It's just an index of expectation and so on, up to 51.8. And really, that sort of thing actually telegraphed cost rises are likely as anything to actually come through. And in an edgy market, that's all that you need. And so basically people sold bonds and the curve started to steepen. So geopolitically then, there's lots more. US, China and Russia have been trading insults. First of all, US-China meeting in Alaska started with both sides trading insults. I'll come on to the detail of that because I actually took it down and it's rather important. Maybe it's something to do with the weather, I don't know. Presidents Biden and Putin called each other killers, and the US threatened to sanction everyone involved with Nord Stream 2. That's the new gas pipeline between Russia and Germany, which of course bypasses the Ukrainians. The US has a point. Russia doesn't have good firm when it accidentally switches off gas pipes, and tying your energy security to them seems rather risky as far as most people are concerned. So let's go to that US-China summit in Anchorage, the first high-level gathering of US and Chinese officials under President Joe Biden. It started off a planned 4-minute photo session for the officials, ended up lasting 1 hour and 15 minutes due to a bad-tempered exchange. Expectations were already quite low as these people actually met. But basically there were concerns about, from the United States, deep concerns expressed by Biden's Secretary of State, talking about actions by China, including Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan, cyber attacks on the United States, and economic coercion towards our allies. This is worth noting. The words are quite important here. I took them down. Each of these actions threatens the rules-based order that maintains global stability. That's why they're not merely internal matters and why we feel an obligation to raise these issues here today. That's what the United States Blinken said. I said that the United States relationship with China will be competitive where it should be collaborative. Words can be adversarial when they must be. So there you have it. China replied to that. I think we thought too well of the United States. We thought the US side would follow the necessary diplomatic protocols, and adding that the United States does not have the qualification to speak to China from a position of strength. So it goes on. Finishes today. Let's hope words are slightly sweeter in Anchorage. They're sleeping it off, no doubt, tonight. Lamborghini had its most profitable year despite a 2-month shutdown of its Italian factory. Lamborghini actually solding more expensive cars to China. China's fueled a lot of demand, and if you remember, China's got form as far as electric cars are concerned as well. It might overtake, as far as Lamborghini's concerned, Germany as the biggest market without Lamborghini. But don't forget that China has its own £3,200 budget electric car, which is chasing Tesla. So lots going on there. So here's the Asia overview. Then, whilst Asia digested the implications of all that, a lot of heading them towards the exit doors, basically, on the result of that. We got inflation news out of Japan. There isn't any. That's been 20 years of that. The banks are slightly more accommodative. They've widened some technicalities about they're slightly more relaxed about long-term interest rates. But Asian markets, can not expect anything from the US-China meeting, which continues later today. China is not happy, so there's business as usual. So a global market overview then. The rise in inflation, resulting spike in US bond yields returned overnight. Nasdaq down 3% overnight. Nasdaq down 3%, S&P down 1.5%, cyclical heavy, Dow Jones down about 0.5%. US futures held steady in Europe, in Asia rather. Whether that will hold on today and into Monday's trade is a very interesting thing. Maybe over the weekend people will start to lose a bit of this emotion. Europe pandemic overview. COVID-19 obviously doing Europe no favours at the moment. France, Germany and Spain have reversed have reversed, remember, their course on on their halting of AstraZeneca vaccinations. But Paris is facing another complete lockdown. And when that you compare that with the recoveries in Asia and the United States, and indeed in the UK, hasn't affected the euro at all, which is rather odd, isn't it? UK Bank of England outlook. Now, they met yesterday. Interest rates kept obviously on hold where they are right now. No expected change there. But the outlook extremely uncertain. When you look at the mouth-watering figures for public spending just out right now, up from 8.7 billion in January to 19.1 billion in February. Now, isn't to say that the markets can't absorb that, but they are mouth-watering figures. And also, the bank is not as certain as it normally is about the outlook. And as you know, as I reported to you earlier this month, the British Finance Minister, Rishi Sunak, said debt levels make interesting headlines, but the sums involved are unlikely to impact the pound. But I think that bond yields are going to be in focus fairly soon. As far as commodities are concerned, oil stabilised in Asia, a bit of a collapse, only a mini one to 62.90. I'm reading now $59 a barrel, but they are all over the place. I think that a lot of people are using this to load up on this relatively cheap oil before we have the OPEC Plus meeting next month, which I was talking to you yesterday about. And gold is only modestly. That's where we are at the moment. That's your global view.
Well, Michael, I wanted you to comment on oil. I mean, there has been a plunge of about 30% from the rally. Was the rally too fast? Were we too optimistic about the performance of oil? And, would there be another increase in prices? And then secondly, the Bank of England, the Monetary Policy Committee, deciding on a cautious approach, keeping lending rate at 0.1%, increasing quantitative easing, which is more or less the same thing that the U.S. Federal Reserve did, taking a dovish approach. How are the markets responding to that?
Markets will be very quiet. They're much more interested in what happened in the United States yesterday at this tangent, this pinpoint, this angle between the European markets, US, and then into Asia. I think that's why I quoted the Asia markets so fully to you. I don't know what's going to happen in the United States, but I suspect if Asia's anything to go by, it'll be that cyclical shift from high-tech stuff suffering into more traditional cyclical stocks, and that bodes badly for inflation. Those are the kind of worries. Nothing that's going to affect the likes of you and me right now. It's not about that. It's about looking ahead, ahead, maybe 2 or 3 ahead to interest rates actually.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Terribly sorry to interrupt, but we've got to go now to Tanzania live.
Right, that's the live broadcast. They're coming out of Tanzania. But the swearing in of the president of Tanzania. That's on the heels of the demise of President Magufuli. May God rest his soul. We'll keep updating you on events going in and around Tanzania today and the rest of the administration of the first female president of that country. We'll go for a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk COVID-19. We'll be right back. Pleasure to have you back. COVID-19 pandemic has been on for quite a while now, over a year. Adesua Moro has been reporting for over a year about this. Adesua, as always, thanks for the good job you do. Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Dr. Abata, and good morning, Tundum.
Morning.
Well, definitely it's been over a year since we've had the pandemic with us. It is still spreading despite vaccination because we also have to deal with variants and fatigue across the world. Countries like India, with the world's third highest burden, are still seeing increase. Yesterday, India reported its highest daily since November. And for the Americas, it's a mix. Countries like America and Canada have seen dropping cases, but you're seeing Venezuela, Brazil, a lot of those Latin American countries are bringing in the numbers. So that's the latest totals from the globe you're seeing on your screen, courtesy of the Johns Hopkins University. Here in Nigeria, 16 states were responsible for the latest 135 infections. No deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours in the country. And still in Nigeria, it's no longer news that states have commenced vaccination against COVID-19. However, what may be is that Kogi State is yet to receive any and is unlikely to receive any time soon. Now, this was made known during the National Economic Council meeting yesterday by the NPHCDA boss, the Dr. Faisal Shuaib. He said that Kogi is yet to receive due to the non-repair of their cold chain store, coupled with the state's concerns around the contradictory information about the vaccine. You all know and will recall that Kogi State Governor has been a COVID-19 skeptic. It is not clear how the authorities plan to go about this so that the people of the state do not bear the brunt of their governor's skepticism. Away from Nigeria, the European Union's drug regulatory agency, the EMA, yesterday said that the AstraZeneca vaccine does not increase the overall incidence of blood clots and that the benefits of using it outweighs the possible risk. And this now paves the way for a lot of European countries to resume dispensing the shots. France, Italy, Germany, they all promptly said they will start using the vaccine again as early as Friday, which is today. Spain, Portugal, Netherlands said they will do so next week, although Spain says it might exclude certain groups to minimize any danger. Meanwhile, the concerns about the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine formed part of the discussions at the meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum yesterday. They received a briefing on the status of the vaccine rollout from the COVID-19 Technical Advisory Group, led by renowned virologist, our very own Professor Yewale Tomori, who is a regular on the morning show. And the conclusion was that the vaccine is safe and the country should go ahead with the rollout. This also came just as the CDC, the Africa CDC, gave the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine a nod yesterday. It is urging African countries to follow science.
Well, very quickly. First, Kogi, let me ask you, I'm sure you are not surprised, or are you surprised that the cold storage facility in Kogi State is not working? Governor Yahaya Bello has been very consistent in opposing the COVID-19 vaccine. You recall that even when the National Center for Disease Control was supposed to go and conduct some tests in Kogi, he chased them away.
Yes.
He accused the NCDC of trying to sabotage the state and trying to scare investors away from Kogi State just because they wanted to conduct serological tests in Kogi State. His Commissioner of Information, Kingsley Fanwo, even issued a statement at a time threatening that the state government of Kogi would take the NCDC to court over the attempt to bring COVID-19 to Kogi State. Well, I mean, Governor Yahaya Bello may not believe in the existence of the virus, but he also does not have the right to deny the people of Kogi State who are interested in taking the vaccine to protect themselves. He has no right to deny them the opportunity to do so. That will amount to an act of sabotage against the people of Kogi State. And what even is more shocking is the fact that voices of reason in Kogi State have not spoken up They've been very complicit. And it is also sad that this is a governor who is planning, we're told, to become president of Nigeria in 2023. We're told his billboards are all over the place. Some people are asking him to become president. So were he to become the president of Nigeria, and should there be, a pandemic of this nature, will he, as president of Nigeria, put the lives of every Nigerian at risk? So this is what is most shocking. You talked about the meeting of the Governors Forum.
Yes.
Was he at that meeting? If he was at that meeting, is he one of the 36 governors that have reportedly endorsed the AstraZeneca vaccine that has been safe and effective? And what are the members of the Governors Forum saying to this their member? So actually, when I saw that report, 36 governors, I said, well, this is contradictory. This is a governor who does not want, there's at least one governor who does not want the vaccine in the state. So it should be 35 governors saying that they have endorsed the vaccine. But the people of Kogi State have a responsibility to speak up for themselves. That's what I think.
Dr. Abati, that's why I asked you a question the last time. I said, from your legal point of view, is it safe to say, or is there a law that can say the NDDC should override Kogi State? Because you see, what I mentioned the last time has happened. My fears have come to pass. Yaya Bello doesn't want the vaccine. He will not allow other people to take it. And what's the step he has taken? He's not repairing the cold chain system. So, at that time, everybody was saying, oh, only Yaya Bello doesn't want it. It will not affect the state. He must allow the people come to the state. But my worst fears has happened. He has stalled the vaccination process in the state. So I put that question again to the lawyers in the House. Is there a possibility that the federal government can override and come there and set up and vaccinate the people over the governor in the interest of healthcare in the state? Because if we continue like this, no vaccine will come into Kogi and nothing will happen. And if people even have COVID, they will never be protected.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, they have no choice but to do that. It's integral that everybody in Nigeria who wants to be vaccinated should have it. The government really has no choice at this point. But, elections matter. I say that all the time. Look at Jair Bolsonaro and the damage he's doing to his country. But although, yes, I said elections matter with regards to Kogi, but did Yaya Bello... Does it apply to Yaya Bello? Well, never mind. That's a whole other discussion there. Elections, then.
Well, Yaya Bello can hide under the fact that he enjoys immunity as a governor and is governor of his state. And under the National Immunization Strategy Plan, he is responsible. The state government is responsible for this immunization. But the point needs to be made that he has no right under the law, despite the fact that he's governor of the state, to jeopardize the lives of the people of Kogi State.
He has no right, but people are dying. Their lives are jeopardized already.
The government has to step in and protect the people.
In that state, there is a state house of assembly. That state house of assembly, what is it doing?
It's rubber stamp.
What
do the state house assemblies do?
We'll check a state government.
Do they have a collection of spectators in that state house of assembly? Do they have a committee on public health in that state house of assembly? So when governors misbehave, it's not just that they are misbehaving because they do not know what to do. How about the levels of checks and balances in Kogi State? So we throw the battle to the State House of Assembly because what Yaya Bello is doing amounts to gross misconduct within the definition of the Constitution. And the State House of Assembly, if it is a responsible House of Assembly, if they have intelligent people in that State House of Assembly, they should speak up and defend the interests of the people who have voted them into that State House of Assembly.
I'm not looking to the State House of Assembly, I'm looking to the federal government because there is no point in vaccinating the other 35 states. If Kogi is allowed to become some kind of petri dish for other variants, all the vaccines will not matter.
That's just it.
So they have to step in and ensure that this inoculation program is carried out across the whole country.
Well, short of declaring a state of emergency in Kogi State, I think the federal government itself is helpless in the matter. The last time the NCDC went to Kogi State to go and conduct ordinary tests, the lives of the team that went there, was endangered. They had to flee.
Dr. Abati, I dare the Kogi State House of Assembly to speak up about this. I dare them.
What will happen?
Nothing will happen. They will not speak.
They will not.
They will not speak. So we're calling on the House of Assembly. Nothing will be done. Like Tundu said, the federal government has to step in.
The Nigerian Governors Forum had initially, when the governor made that statement about the vaccines, before they even arrived, had distanced itself from the Kogi State government. But I don't think that's enough. As a forum, as a pressure group of governors in Nigeria, they should be able to do more for the Kogi people.
Yes.
Well, if
but they have to. We have no choice.
If the man says the cold storage chain in the state is not working, or he goes further and he says they do not have resources to do it, well, the NCDC, the MPHCDA, they will be reluctant to go and waste, vaccines in Kogi State. That's why the people themselves must speak up.
But then there's no point with the whole entire vaccination exercise, because this is how variants continue to grow and thrive and reinfect people and render the jabs useless. Something has to be done. This cannot be allowed.
After all, no one is safe until everyone is safe.
Exactly. So, it cannot be allowed. It's not even an option.
But what will probably be the solution? Because we've been talking about this for a while. It's happening now. We'll still talk about it next week. When is something going to
So this is the thing. The federal government, either by diplomacy or whatever means they need to use, have to call him to order. They don't have a choice.
Well, under a federal system, because we remember federalism when it is convenient, that may be quite difficult. But thank you very much. Thank you very much. But on the other question of the role of the governors in this, yes, it's good that the Governors Forum has expressed commitment. The other state governors, the ones that are supporting the vaccination program, I think they also still have a lot of work to do. From the initial reports that we have seen that in some of the states, the vaccination process is becoming very much like the NIMC National Identity Card Program, with people having to queue up, long queues. I know somebody this morning who had tried to go out there to get vaccinated, a frontline worker. You know, she has had to move from one part of Lagos to another part of Lagos, because anytime she got there, it was just chaos, it was just confusion. Now, the Lagos state government and other state governments, they need to make sure that this is, not as stressful as the National Identity Card Program. Now, in Lagos State in particular, which is the example I cited earlier, we've been told that it's in 4 phases. The first phase will be for soldiers, policemen, journalists, essential workers, frontline workers. But from what I've seen, even on social media, the evidence is there and it is compelling. Everybody is just going to queue up, and that's already contributing to the confusion. That should not be the case. We would like to see across the country, since the rollout on March 12, March 15, a very smooth, decent process whereby people don't start collecting money to get onto the queue.
Dr. Abati, there are unconfirmed reports out of Falomo, unconfirmed reports that some people are already collecting money to bring people on the queue in Falomo. Unconfirmed reports.
Thank you, Dr. Abati, for bringing that up, because the Lagos State Health Commissioner released a statement last night, stressing this as well, asking the people to wait their turn. This is for frontline workers. If you do not fall into that category, please do not show up at those vaccination sites. Petrol attendants, policemen, journalists, pressmen in general, the military, healthcare workers, members of the judiciary. Those are the ports of entry and exits for the country, land, air, and sea. If you do not fall into this category, do not show up at those vaccination sites. It puts more pressure on the system, and then we have chaos.
Anyway, thank you very much, Adesu Almoran. Enjoy your week.